And what is going on, everybody out there, all of you beauts and beauties? It is episode number 92 of Hat Trick Hockey, which is always brought to you by our good friends over at GL Heritage, the official beer of Hat Trick Hockey. If you like Rob's sweet shirt that I'm wearing there, if you like those, just go on to our link there, smash the link, take you right into our merch store for all of your sweet HTH merch. We'll also ship it right to your house. Ladies, we have lady sizing now. Also, I've had some ladies ask me about the Total Butte shirt. If you want the Butte shirt, all you do is you pick whatever size, and then you can write in the comment section, just write that you want it to be a Total Butte shirt, and there's no difference in the price as well. So that's for you ladies. So enjoy those. This being episode number 92, it is the Gabriel Landeskog edition of Hat Trick Hockey. He was a 2011 first round pick, second overall by Colorado. He's played 11 years in the league, 738 games, 248 goals, 323 assists, 571 points. He's a two-time world championship gold medalist. He's a Olympic silver medalist. He's a Calder trophy winner, -1. And he's also the current captain of the Colorado Avalanche. I'll bring in my boy, my line mate, Rob. Looking fresh in the new shirt, kid. What's going on? It seems like it's been fucking forever since I've talked.
I know. It seems like it's been like 2 weeks.
I know. It's nuts. So what's up?
I love this shirt, man. It feels like someone's hugging me.
It looks good, awesome. Man. It looks good.
It's the dry fit one. It's fucking beauty. It's beauty.
I'm definitely.
I wore it to the 73s game, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I'm getting one of those."
Yeah.
So
smash the link.
Yeah, I brought it over to show the Meg boys before we went to the game. They're all loving it. So yeah,
beauty.
Yep.
Yeah, I obviously couldn't go to the game.
Yep.
It caught up with me. It got me. It got me.
You didn't go to Friday's game either.
No, there was no way. Friday I was at work, wasn't I? Yeah, I was at work. I had to work Friday, and then I had the hockey tournament Saturday. Hey, if the 73s want to pay me to be in the stands and drink beer, I'm there. I'm in. All for it.
They're paying me. I'm not supposed to tell you, though.
Yeah. Fuck. -2. Yeah. But, yeah, so speaking of those 73s, games 3 and 4. So game 3 ended up super close. It went, I think, 2-1 when they were in Lakeshore. So they got a win on the road to go up 2-1 in the series. Goals from our boy Shirky and Kyle Blow got the winner.
We gotta get that kid on too.
Yeah, it was a nice little shot too. I think he went off the post and in. It was a nice shot. And as always, Knowles in net. This kid is a fucking stud. Stopped 32 of 33 shots and goal for the win for Essex. So then Tuesday they roll around. Obviously you were there. They come back to Essex. Didn't exactly end the way we wanted to do. Lakeshore ended up snagging game 4 by a score of 4-2. Brought the series back to 2. Lakeshore outshot us 30-27, I believe. Chittle scored both goals. Our boy Matty Smith, Curtis Jackson each had 2 assists each. Curtis there, I always call him 50 because that's like 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson, so I call him 50. So if that's not his nickname, I don't know how it's not. Essex had 30 penalty minutes in the game. 30 penalty minutes in the game. Lakeshore only had 16. However, there was no fucking power plays. Everything offset.
Yeah, they called a pretty tight game. Like Flutter and I can't remember the other referee's name. Rasman. I'm pretty sure it was Rasman. They called a really tight game, really well game. You know, like they let the boys play. But there was one play where I thought they were going down Bell River end and it looked like an interference or a trip or a hold or whatever. They come back down. There's just mucking about. And, you know, like it always happens, Bell River ends up scoring, right? So it was kind of a shitty deal. And it looked like our goalie got hurt.
Uh-oh.
It looked like, because it looked like a strain, like he was struggling getting up, but I don't know. He toughed it out, played the rest of the game, played awesome. I thought Essex was a better team in the first period, and then it kind of evened out in the second, and then you know, just a couple bad bounces and like 27-30. That's a close game. It was a very, very good game. Both teams played very well.
I was pissed I didn't have the live stream because I could watch it from my phone.
Yeah.
So
well, you should be working, but whatever.
I think they're gonna have it for games 5, 6, and possibly 7.
5 and 6 for sure.
So, and I don't know. I could see this series going 7, to be honest with you, and I don't think the home team has won yet.
Nope, they haven't.
So it's pretty crazy, man. These teams are so evenly
all the hometown
matched.
Fans are leaving disappointed, right?
These teams are so evenly matched too that it's insane. It's good hockey, man. It's good.
From what I see, like in all honesty, I think Bell River's got one line and all the rest are just like grind. You know what I mean? Grind, wear you down. Like they got 3 lines of grind but it just, Essex seems to be having a problem stopping that first line.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be scoring all the time. I want to say it's the brothers, damn, I can't remember their last names. LaRue. Yeah, that's it. Typical French Bell River, name, right?
Always picking on the French guys.
French are assholes. Right, Lloyd?
Case study.
If you met Godet, either one of them.
Yeah. Hi.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining hockey. I couldn't believe how many people were in the Essex Arena. Like it was fantastic.
There was almost 1,000.
Oh, there had to have been more than 1,000.
Oh, they had it at like 980 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm saying. But here's what I want to know: what is going on in Bell River? You don't have the canteen open. You don't have a bar going, and no 50-50.
Come on,
that's all free money. Like, what are you doing?
And the freaking snack bar thing there too. If the snack bar thing's not open, I checked the one game, they had just over 1,000.
Yeah, they had 1,100. I want to say game 2.
Yeah,
around 1,100. And how much money are you making off the canteen? How much money are you making off beer sales? How much money are you making off 50-50?
Well, the snack bar might be like leased out to somebody, because I know Harrow is like that. Like it's not the town that runs the snack bar, it's leased out.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's get it together. Like how many people are leaving work and going, I'll just grab a dog at the arena or some fries or whatever.
Grab a dog and nachos.
Nothing. Right.
Oh yeah, that's crazy though.
Shame on you. Shame on you, Barbara.
Shame.
Feel shame.
That's funny.
So should we all be in a penalty box?
So game 5 goes Thursday, which is tonight. And so I'm assuming game 6 is going to be on Saturday.
Saturday in Essex and then Sunday in Bell River.
Oh, so it has to end Sunday?
It's wrapping up this weekend.
Oh boy. So be sure to go out and pack the barn here for game 6. Definitely fill that place.
Ant can't go because he's pregnant.
Yeah, I'll still be in jail. But I'll definitely be watching on the live stream though, probably ripping up my basement because I'll be walking the floorboards on my basement, pacing if the game's tight. So
you should do that TikTok live while you're watching it.
I thought about doing that. So that's also a possibility. Depending on
I'll be at the game, so I won't be on with you.
Depending on how I feel, we'll see. 2023 Winter Classic. Okay, they're going to do it. It's going the Fenway, so it's going to be Boston, but they're going to be welcoming in the Pittsburgh Penguins. Do you like this matchup?
Boston and Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Let 2 fucking teams play that haven't done it.
Yeah, but are they going to sell? Are you going to sell seats? If you put Columbus and let's go Carolina, is that going to sell? No, if you go Ottawa and Detroit, I think would sell because it would be big for Canada, right? Like Canada versus.
Why wouldn't you bring one to Canada or something and do like Leafs and Oilers or something?
Why not do Calgary and fucking Edmonton?
That's what I mean. You could have a Battle of Alberta.
Yeah, Toronto, Detroit. It all depends if you want to sell it. I
went to a Red Wings one at the fucking Wings and Leafs at the fucking big house there.
Yeah, at fucking 40 below.
That
That's
was
fun.
nuts in the middle of a snowstorm.
That was a great game though, too.
Yeah, went all the way to the shootout. Leafs win in a shootout.
Yeah.
It was a good one. So I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of it. Hockey should be played indoors unless you're a kid and you're just fucking, scrumming it up out in the pond.
I just want to see different teams play though. I just feel like Pittsburgh's been in it a lot.
And it's got to be at night. You know what I mean? You can't have it in the day.
No. Yeah, it is cool at night.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Leafs, Matthews could be the first guy to score 60 since Mr. Stamkos did it in 2011, 2012. He's at 58 right now. So I think he's obviously going to get it. He's got like 8 games to score 2 goals.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen. But man, that guy, I don't know. Could he get fucking near 70? I think he tops out about 65, 66.
What's he got right now? 50 what?
58.
58. I could see 65.
That's what I'm thinking. 65, 66.
Yeah. Did you hear he's the new spokesman for Skip the Dishes?
Is he?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Because you don't pass.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. That's funny. I'm like, what?
Oh, fuck. That's funny.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I could see that 65, 66. So playoffs are just around the corner, obviously. Here's a couple clinching scenarios for you. So the Boston Bruins will clinch if they beat Ottawa in any fashion, and the Pens beat the Islanders in any fashion, or get 1 point against the Senators, and the Penguins still have to beat the Islanders in regulation. Seems confusing. Now, Crosby and them will clinch if they beat the Islanders in any fashion. That's it, straight up. Now, the Lightning will clinch. This is for the Eastern Conference, obviously, by the way. So the Lightning will clinch if they beat the Ducks or at least get 1 point against the Ducks. And the Pens have to beat the Islanders in any fashion, or the Islanders lose to the Penguins in regulation.
No clue what you're saying.
Isn't it crazy? No, but isn't it crazy how they think of all these fucking scenarios?
Right.
The West isn't as complicated.
It's way better than hearing they say, if the season was to end now, I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
This team would be playing this team. Okay, but the season's not ending right now.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
We're still 8 games away.
Right.
So the Flames will clinch if they get at least 1 point against Las Vegas, and the Colorado Avalanche will clinch the Central. So they have to beat New Jersey in any fashion. Buffalo has to beat St. Louis in any fashion, and the Stars have to beat Minnesota in regulation for them to clinch. They're already in the playoffs. I've already clinched, but that's for them to clinch the Central.
Bro, you lost every single one of our listeners.
I know. So everybody try to figure that one out. So this is what I think about it. When it comes down to shit like this, it's like, just do the fucking top 8 in East and the West. Like, why are we doing this wild card shit? I hate the wild card stuff.
Yep, top 8 teams. That's it.
Like, why can't it just go back to the old way?
Just put them in 2 divisions. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to point all this out, because all this wouldn't be there if it was just straight up fucking top 8 get in.
North, South, and that's it.
Like, boom.
You do a North division, or an East-West division, and then an East-West down in the U.S.
It's way too confusing.
It is
with all this wild card shit, because then you don't know who's doing what.
Well, you could have a team that's doesn't have as many points in the wild card or has more points in the wild card, that a team finishes first in their division and they get in, and then there could be a team. It's happened all kinds of times where a team had more points than the team that won their division and not get in. So it's fucked.
Gary, go back to the fucking 8 and 8.
Yeah.
Like,
stop thinking you know what you're doing with the whole creating rivalries.
Yeah.
There's no big rivalries anymore because there's no fighting. There's no fucking, you know what I mean? Like, so what are you doing? There's nothing going on with that anymore. You've taken all the fun out of hockey.
This ain't the MLB. We don't want wild cards.
No, it's dumb.
Fuck. So Evander Kane, there's a pretty funny story. I was kind of explaining to you so he gets into it with Ryan Hartman in Minnesota. They're getting into it or whatever. The refs break him up. Hartman flips him off just right on camera. Bam. Didn't even care. He got fined $4,250. Okay, so we got fined $4,250. So Evander Kane's ex Venmoed him some money to put on the fine. So I don't know if that's like a ultimate chirp savage type move, or is that like, I'm sick of hearing about her personally.
Oh no, that's I'm giving him some of your money that you pay me that I'm giving to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because doesn't he have a kid with her?
I'm not sure if they do.
I'm pretty sure he does. With a few girls.
Fuck.
I'm just making shit up. I don't know.
I don't think he has a kid. I'm not sure though.
Anyways, yeah. Well, there's some bad blood there, right? And
a little bit.
She's just giving him a big fuck you. A Kid Rock fuck you.
But sometimes it's just like, I'm just sick of fucking reading about her all the time, or sick of seeing the headlines and sick of seeing, you know what I mean? Like, what makes them so special over any other like couple that split?
I don't know. Well, it's because it's Kane and he's in the news all the time.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
But here's another thing. So he gets a $4,500 fine. Hall throws a sucker punch and gets a $5,000 fine. So wouldn't he have been better off just sucker punching him and getting the fine?
Well, the reason why they did it, because they said it's like an unsportsmanlike conduct thing.
Oh, just like chirping is now an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, like it's all fucking stupid.
So stupid. Stupidest thing I've ever heard.
We got to get Bettman out of here.
Well, there's no fun in this league anymore. Like I don't get it. Like you some of those chirps are the best chirps ever. And you can't tell somebody off like, like Ryan Reeves asking Tom Wilson, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Oh, now you're going to the box because you're egging him on. Like, shut up. What is it? It's taunting.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Man,
I don't understand.
Speaking of getting chirped, did you know a few years back, Crosby, there was a guy, I forget where they were, but there was a guy they were playing. He chirped Crosby all game. After the game, one of the like trainers or whatever told him to stay there for a second. Crosby signed him a stick, and on the blade of the stick, he wrote "awesome chirps." I loved it, Sidney Crosby.
That's awesome.
So, I think it was McCarty, I want to say, had that up on his wall. I seen it. It was pretty good. I was reading it. I was like, wow, that's good. That just shows you what like kind of guy Sid is.
Yeah.
So on that note, should we flip over to our interview?
Yeah, for sure.
Got a pretty good one on tap. We got 2-time Stanley Cup champion Kris Versteeg. So everybody enjoy.
Fuck, I wish I didn't miss this one. Roll it.
No time. Woo, woo. Woo.
This next man we have here with us, very special guest, played 11 seasons in the NHL for 7 teams. He played 643 games in the NHL, played for Team Canada, a little bit overseas. Last but not least, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Look, he smiles as soon as you say, you got to just love it. Eh? Kris Versteeg, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on your show.
Man, I'm sure every time someone fucking says that to you, 2-time Cup champ, it's just hard not to smile, eh? Like,
yeah, it's something when you do it at the time you don't think much about, but when you're retired, and that's kind of how you get introduced when you come into either a room or a meeting or something, it definitely makes you think, wow, it has a different feel to it than,
oh yeah,
prior. So it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. So you grew up, you lived out west, right?
I'm an Alberta boy. Yeah, Southern Alberta. Yeah.
Okay. So you obviously grew up playing like hockey out there. You've seen you played like Western League and all that stuff out there, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in Southern Alberta. Hockey in Southern Alberta is still the biggest sport in Lethbridge, but it's basically a different area of Canada altogether. Like you could fly from Toronto, and if you landed in Lethbridge, you think you landed back in 1990.
Come on.
It's a much different way of life there, much slower. It's a country town. There's probably close to 100,000 people there with school now, but I mean, agriculture is everything there, right? So you have it's a big cattle industry down there, many different things, but yeah, so it's a different world. Let's just leave it at that. Hockey again is big, but it's not like you walk around there and everyone's like, oh, there's an NHL or whatever. It's like, you know, if a big cowboy came down there from the PBR, it'd probably be bigger, you know. It is what it is. It is what it is, but it was a great place to grow up. And a lot of why I am who I am today is because of how Lethbridge shaped me.
One of the things I noticed too is your 15, one of your 15 years, you had over 100 penalty minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a few years where I've had over 100. I'm not tough by any means as a fighter. I think I would always get into it. Again, so as you know, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, even mid 2000s, if you were a small player, and again, I was generally average to undersized, like I'm only 5'10" now, you'd get abused. Like you would get abused because bigger players saw a smaller player on the ice. And again, hitting was way bigger back then. Fighting was bigger, slashing, you would get abused. So as a smaller player, I had to almost go even crazier in the opposite direction. You call it small man syndrome, but you kind of had to have that syndrome back in the day.
Yeah.
Where you'd get bullied right out of an arena. So I mean, if someone slashed me, I would tomahawk them on the back, literally, you know.
Wow.
And that's just how I felt. I was like, okay, if you're gonna slash me and try to bully me around, I'm gonna stick you right in the gut, or I'm gonna slash you as hard as I can, because if you do it again, I'm gonna chop you down, literally. So I missed a lot of games as a 15-year-old because I spent a lot. And I kind of carried that a little bit into pros and junior and pros. Again, I'd average 2 fights a year, but my one pro year, I had 180 penalty minutes. I had 12 fights that year.
That's crazy.
And again, I'm not tough, but it was more so I knew I had to do something different to make the NHL, because Kane, or it wasn't Kane, it was Kane and Havlat and Sharp. And the only way for me to fit in was, you know, bring something different to the game. So yeah, in a long-winded answer of what you asked, that's kind of the way it is. Yeah.
Well, hey, like I was the same way growing up. Like I was always undersized too, and like I think I'm only like a year older than you, so it was the same style of hockey out here as it was there. Like people were trying to rip your head off, right? So I was the same way.
Rip your head off, though, people don't quite get it unless you grew up in those times in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, and then it goes same with the 80s and 70s and 60s, really, until 2011, 12, where they started to take hitting to the head seriously.
Yeah.
Up until that point, if someone said they're going to rip your head off, it was a literal meaning.
Yeah.
Like people trying to decapitate you, because no one hit to hit the body, they hit to hit your head, right?
No,
and as you're just trying not to die sometimes.
Yeah. What's weird now is I see, like, I would say hockey's kind of soft nowadays, the way they've kind of made it. But like back in the day, like they would have stick fights and stuff, you know what I mean? Back in the day. And then like I see it now, it's like it's changed so much.
It has changed. And for myself, I like the change. I know some guys, especially, you know, who've played in our time, they've almost felt like that they've been through it. So should the new generation. I think where the new generation lacks, which could make the game better, also should be fixed by the NHL, is a little bit of the passion component. I don't think there should ever be hitting to the head, ever. That's my own personal belief. I've seen too many of my friends that their lives have been ruined because of it. They're still not the same people today. I just don't think any hitting to the head. I still like contact. I like hard play, and I love passion. And I think that's why playoffs is what it is, because people can play with passion. But I do think, you know, I look at today's game, I think that could be a little bit of a lacking feature into it. And also the league hasn't fully allowed superstars to be superstars yet, because the rules still veer towards the B and the C player.
Yeah.
They don't really help the A player enough still yet, I don't believe.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just hockey's just so different. But what was it like for you coming out of the Western League and you're leading up to your NHL draft? Like, now you went to, I think it was Boston Bruins, right? That's who grabbed you. Did you know that it would be them, or was there other teams involved, or was it kind of a like, all right, it's fucking Boston, it is?
That's exactly kind of what it was. So leading up to that draft, my first agent, I basically had to bet, like, in a sense, not like actually, but I had to beg him to be my agent. You know, I'd be like, hey, I need an agent. I might be getting, I'm in the draft this year. I'm eligible. He took me on at the start of the year and he was great to me. But it wasn't like I was a high-end prospect sought after where agents at 17 on your draft year are banging at your door. I had to ask an agent to be my agent at the start of the year. Mm-hmm. And I actually, as a 17-year-old, I led my team in scoring and I still wasn't ranked to get drafted in the NHL. And I ended up going to represent Canada at the end of the year, U18s, mm-hmm. and I had a really good tournament. And after that, I had my coach of the junior team. He brought me for dinner and he said, there's 2 teams looking at you. Boston may take you in the 8th or 9th round and or Columbus. And I still remember the talk and I was like, that's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if they don't feel like they can get you in the 9th round, they may move up to get you. But Boston never called me for an interview. Like there was no interviews or anything.
Wow. So
I went to my graduation. So the day one of the draft happened. That was my graduation. I went, that used to be 3 rounds. And then the next 6 rounds were the following day. So I didn't even watch the draft because I didn't think I'd get drafted in the first 3 rounds. I went to my graduation that night. Back then we used to have a thing called Safe Grad. So you go light it up, in the farmer's field from midnight till 6 in the morning. And I remember me and my ex-girlfriend got home and I was literally on my front lawn being dragged into the house. And my mom came out and she was like crying. She's like, Rich Sutter just called. He's in Carolina right now. And Rich Sutter was someone who took me under his wing around those times. Mm-hmm. And he said, you just got drafted to Boston. And I remember kind of like, I'm full hammered. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I got drafted. I don't really remember it. I went to bed. I woke up a couple hours later and then the news camera was on my front lawn. And I remember giving interviews and my mom was there again. My family started to show up and they're all crying. And I remember asking, I'm like, when did I get drafted? Yeah. And she's like, you went in the 5th round. And I was like, the 5th round? The only thing I ever thought is I'd be like a 9th round pick if I even got drafted. So to get drafted in the 5th round was crazy. Apparently the head scout of Boston Bruins watched me play for Team Canada. And he said that, and they moved up to take me in the 5th round as well. Wow. And he said that if he saw the chance to take me between rounds 4 and 5, that they would take me. And I never ever knew that, but he was the head scout of the out west, and he's the guy who ended up making the call to take me in the 5th round that year.
Mm-hmm. The hardest part, I think, would be to fucking go out and do all those interviews and everything when you only got a couple hours sleep and you were probably so fucking hungover that.
Oh yeah. Again, like I still remember the TV interview it showed, and my head was going like this. In and out of the camera because I was like swaying.
Oh fuck.
But it was again, that's like I was working at Sport Check at that time. I worked there for like 3 years. I was like a regular teenager going out partying, having fun. I didn't really think I was going to be drafted to the NHL. No one thought I was going to be. No one really told me until my coach did. At that dinner, and even then it was like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Like no one's called me.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I love to ask guys is what was it like leading up to your first NHL training camp? Like you go in, like you see all these guys that you've probably watched growing up and stuff like that. Like how was that experience for you?
It was crazy. So we missed it so when I got drafted, the lockout happened in 2004. So we missed that training camp as a 18-year-old. So I went as a 19-year-old. It was the following year. And I remember walking in and Joe Thornton was standing there. So it's like the first meeting, everyone shows up, all the young guys, all the vets, everyone. You get into the room, you talk about your goals. They welcome the young guys to the team. They talk a little bit about camp. And I remember Mike Sullivan was the coach. I can't remember the GM at the time. He was the older one. It was the one right before Chiarelli came in. Gosh. Why can't I think right now? He might've been Sullivan as well. Might have been O'Sullivan and Sullivan.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
O'Sullivan. So anyways, I remember seeing like Joe Thornton, and Joe Thornton is like huge, right? First off, he's like 6'6". I walk in, I see Glenn Murray, you see all these guys and you're like, holy cow, like I've been watching you guys. I mean, Sergei Samsonov used to be one of my favorite players, right? I walk in and these guys are all around the room and Alexei Zhamnov. And now, you have this moment with them where you're kind of like, you're not even watching them talk about hockey or anything about to do with camp. I'm just like looking at their faces, like, are they human? Yeah. Are they real people? And my first ever camp, they put me on a line with Alexei Zhamnov. And I remember I was doing 2-on-1 drills to start camp and he gave me like 5 backdoor tap-ins. And I was like, this is crazy. This guy is insane. And he used a blade that was like maybe 8 inches long. But it was just, there was an aura around these guys to me, right? I don't know if the same feeling for young guys still is that today. Like back then, there was no social media, there was nothing. The only time you saw these guys was every hour on the highlight ticker, right? And you'd only see them for like a minute, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, there was no access to them. And when you saw them, it was like almost like this mystical type creatures. So it would be like on the ice with them and looking at them, you couldn't almost comprehend it, to be honest with you. That was just a feeling I had. I don't know if others felt that way.
Oh, it's got to be. Well, when you see these guys growing up and you're watching these guys growing up playing and you walk in and then they're right in front of you, it's probably like, and you're young too, like 19 is young to be going in there.
I think I was just turning 19 too, right? So
you're crazy.
Yeah. And again, like it was almost video game like is the best way I can explain it. You're like, these guys are real, but yeah, I don't know.
So now that we're through camp and everything, what was it like leading up to your first NHL game? Were the nerves kicking when you walk in the locker room? Is it just like, okay, this is it? And like, how did that whole experience go for you?
Yeah, my first exhibition game was with Boston. We played against the New York Islanders. I had wicked nerves. Dave Lewis was the coach. I thought, before the game started, I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do? I played like one shift. So it didn't really matter, right? So I played one exhibition game. That was what the first one was like. But my first real ever NHL game, I got called up. I was with the Chicago Blackhawks, and it was at the end of October, I believe. And I played against either start of November or end of October, 2007. And I played against Calgary Flames in Calgary. So that's my hometown.
That's awesome.
So all my friends and family were there, calling everyone, calling my mom, calling my dad, people crying. And this is even before I was allowed to play in the game, but it was just like such a crazy moment for me to play my first ever National Hockey League game in my hometown in front of friends and family. The same exact thing I felt for Joe Thornton, when I walked in the room and I saw him, was the same thing I felt when I lined up on my first faceoff. And I have a real cool picture of it against Jerome McGinley.
Oh, nice.
Southern Alberta, Jerome McGinley's God, right? And the year I was drafted, I was actually cheering for the Flames on the Red Mile. I was like during the it was right before the lockout happened. They lost to Tampa Bay. I was at parties. I had a Calgary Flame puck on my head. I still have the photo, I'm like, as a kid, like cheering on Jerome McGinley. And 3 years later, I'm lined up against him, and you're just like, this is a real guy again. And you're like, this isn't a real moment. And then he gave me a wicked cross check right in the forearm, right off the face off. And it kind of like snapped me in. I'm like, holy shit, he's going to hurt me if I don't get ready. And that's where I was like, okay, I got to start to push this aside of being in awe of these people and start to realize like I got to start playing hockey and stop being in awe.
Give him a fucking whack back. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, that's exactly what started to happen. I remember Craig Conroy and all them. After that, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to try to hit him. Right. I'm going to try to do something because he just slashed me. And if I don't again, it's like, especially then it was a much different game. Right. It was a kind of like a dog eat dog. They can find that you're going to get abused. They'll abuse you, right? They'll hit you and whack you until you don't want to play the game anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. So where were you when you got your first actual like freaking call up? Like, were you sitting out with friends? Were you like, where were you when you got that call?
I was in the car heading to practice. We're headed to a game. I believe we're going to go play Peoria, and me and Nicholas Hjalmarsson were both in the car together. And I got the call, and I ended up going to play Calgary. He ended up going to play Peoria, I think it was that game. And then I played 3 games, got sent down. And then me and Nicholas Hjalmarsson were in the car like 3 or 4 weeks later again. And we both got called up to go to Dallas. So I was there for Nicholas Hjalmarsson's first game as well. So both times I remember he was next to me in the car when I got the call. Al McIsaac called me. He was the vice president of the Hawks at the time and just gave me a call, said, hey, we're going to bring you up. And better call your family and get them all there to the game.
Love it, man. Love it. So now that we're all kind of on first and everything, your first goal, where'd your first goal happen at and who was it on?
Michael Telkvist was the goalie. It was against the Arizona Coyotes. And I got called up just after Christmas time again, played in Arizona. I think we were down 2-2 at the time, or 2-1 at the time. I assisted the first goal of the game. It was a Cam Barker shot, and we pulled the goalie with a couple minutes left, and they put me on the ice. And I remember just one-timing the puck from like the sideboards, and it was going wide, and it went off Keith Ballard's ass and in the net. So it was not a snipe by any means. It was a lucky goal, but it was the first goal. And I remember kind of after the game too thinking, holy shit, I just, I got an assist. I got my first ever assist and goal. Those were my first 2 ever points against the Phoenix Coyotes. And after the game, I was like, wow, I got a goal in the show. It was pretty cool.
And that's the thing too. Like we've had guys on the show, they've only scored 1 in the show, but I'm like, you don't understand. Nobody can take that away from you.
No,
like that's
it's
something that
cool
you
play
did.
a game. Yeah, it's cool to play a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys, but then even to score a goal or have that like stat line there is a whole other element to playing in the NHL.
So I'm from like Windsor area. Okay. So Coach freaking Q is obviously from Windsor. So how was he as a coach? And I understand that he didn't like you shooting it through your legs.
Oh man. Quenneville is, well, obviously he's the best coach I ever played for. He is the best, and I kind of find I coach now. I coach my kids. I kind of use a lot of the same things he used. You're kind of you're gambling in a sense, right, on who you think's going at that moment. Mm-hmm. And there's no one who had a better sense for who was playing well at certain moments than Coach Q. Now, it sucked to be the guys. He was one of the guys he was always rotating in and out of the lineup because I always played generally most of the time, but in and out of like the line. So if I was playing with Kane for 5 games, I would have 5 points in 5 games. But the second I didn't play good in game 6, I was back on the 3rd or 4th line, and then Sharp would be there or Brower would be there or, so it was always like, he was always making sure his horses were fresh. And he always made sure, and then once he would switch me out for Sharp would score. And then once Sharp would play bad, he'd switch him out for Brower would score. It was just wild how he could gamble on who was going on each and every moment. Mm-hmm. You need mentally strong players to be able to handle that type of way of coaching. And that's why I think he tests you a lot, especially early on, to see if you can mentally take what he's going to give to you. And then as for the through the legs stuff, we're playing in Colorado, and this is 2008 now. And I remember coming down the wing and Ruslan Saleh was kind of cutting me off, and I put the puck through my legs and I wired it through my legs. It went off the crossbar and out. It was kind of coming on my off wing. And I used to do it all the time. Like I scored a bunch of goals in the A like that. I had to fight though every time. I scored this goal in the A and I had 3 fights in the next like 3 shifts, literally. Like Carter jumped me. He played for Minnesota. I played with him as well. A couple other guys, but I snapped it through my legs off the crossbar and out, and he just went bonkers. Like he went crazy. And he's like, did he just fucking do that? Did he just do that? And I got back to the bench. He screamed at me about doing that. Then he brought me into the room in between periods and called it junior shit, And then the next day he pulls it up on video, and Buff and everyone are dying laughing. And he's, again, same kind of thing. He's like, this is junior shit. I don't want to see it. So we go out for practice that day, and Buff and Kane are shooting pucks through their legs, like almost to, again, prove the point to me. Like, you can't shoot the puck through your legs, but we can.
That's fucking fun.
Yeah, it was funny. Again, it's true though. Like, if you did that then, which I didn't like, because I like to play like that and I like to try new creative things. Mm-hmm. You generally had to fight. Like I remember, again, we were in Portland. David Krejci gave me a breakaway pass, and it was to make it 1-0 in the first period. I put it through my legs, like bar down. Mm-hmm. And I came back to the bench. Next shift, I got jumped. The shift later, I had to fight, and then the next game we played Portland again in Providence, I had to fight again. So it's just like, it's great to see the kids now being able to do it without having to worry about, if they're going to be able to eat a meal later.
Rob's getting ready to hop on here in a few seconds, so feel free to give it to him. One of the other stories that I actually heard about you too is there was a practice or something. You're just flipping pucks in the stands. What happened with that? That's
Ryan Whitney's favorite story. So I was in Florida. I just had ACL surgery. I wasn't playing very good. They were going to healthy scratch me, and I was kind of pissed off. I was supposed to just be used on the power play technically, but I was brutal. Like I was a shell of myself, my knee, and I had hip surgery as well. So I wasn't playing very good. So to their credit as well, I deserved to be healthy scratch, but I was pissed off. So I went on for pregame skate. And when skate started, I just started firing all the pucks in the stands. And by the, 5 minutes in, we'd go down on a 2-on-1. Instead of shooting it on goal, I'd shoot it in the stands. And then, 10 minutes later, there's no pucks left on the ice. And Gord Murphy's like, where's all the fucking pucks? And then I remember Whit and all them were like, I think Versteeg shot him in the stands. He goes, well, what do we do now? And we're all like, well, I don't know. He goes, practice is over, and he called practice. So 10 minutes in, all the pucks were in the stands and practice was done.
That's funny, man. And they're all probably just standing there watching you, Whit and all them just watching you. Just flick pucks and you're just like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking funny.
If like NHL practices for morning skate, there's like 60 pucks on the ice. There's not like 5 pucks on the ice either.
Yeah.
There's literally 5 pucks per guy out there.
That's funny though. And you flicks every single one in this thing. That's hilarious, man.
In Washington.
That's witty to even think of that, to like, flick. Yeah, you can't practice with no pucks, right? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't bag skate you.
That's what I thought was coming. I kind of expected to get bag skated, so that's why I kept doing it. Then I was like, well, I'm just going to get bag skated then, because I just wanted to prove my point. And nothing ended up happening. Well, I ended up, I got in shit, which I deserved. But yeah, I expected to get bag skated. I went in there fully knowing like he's going to put me on the line and skate me for the next hour, but it didn't happen.
Thank God. One of the things too that I wanted to ask you, because I know you were obviously on the team when I think it was Kaner scored the overtime goal in Philadelphia for you guys to win the first cup there. I was watching it at home and I seen him do the little dance on, I think he was on the half wall or whatever. He did a little dance and then he like come off and he shot. And then all of a sudden he's throwing his gloves and no one knew anything. I don't think the refs didn't know. I think he was the only one that seen that shot go in. So
yeah,
what was it like for like you guys on, like, were you on the bench? Were you on the ice? Like, so how was all that?
I just came off the ice. I remember kind of sitting there and Troy Brower was next to me. And I was just like sucking wind basically, because you came off the ice and I looked up and I saw Kaner kind of make his little shimmy shake and he kind of went down the wall and he snapped a low one on net. And I heard a thunk, like it sounded like the goalie put his paddle down and it hit his paddle. And then I was like, I looked in the stands. I thought it like ramped off his paddle into the netting. And then Brower's like, where's the puck? I'm like, I think it's in the netting. And then all of a sudden, when I said that, I saw Kaner come down and his gloves were off. And I'm like, the fuck just happened? And then Brower's like, I think it's in the net. And I'm like, well, and we're all still kind of looking. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the guys jump on the ice. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going on the ice. I jump on and I'm like, okay, it must be in the net. He thinks it's in the net. And also in the back of your head, you're like, it might not be in the net. I have no idea. But I saw, Brower's threw his shit off. I threw my shit off. Got down to the end. You start hugging the guys and Kaner's like, it's in. He's screaming, it's in. I looked down the ice and you could see the one ref kind of going in the net and he found it in the cushion. And still to this day, they say they can't find the puck, but there's a picture of him holding the puck. There's a picture. So I saw him, we all saw it. He was looking in the net and you could see him pull something out and we're like, oh, it's in the net. And then we looked over and the coaching staff was starting to give us a thumbs up because they'd been just advised that the goal was in as well. But from that moment of not knowing when me and Brower were on the bench to jumping off and kind of looking down, you're almost like, God, please be in the net. Because if we threw our shit off and it is not in the net or it is not a goal and we lose the Stanley Cup, this will be all-time epic, worst things ever. Ever.
That's one of those, Kaner, you better be fucking sure that went in.
Yeah, you better be sure. He was sure. I'm Sharp might have been sure as well, or Ladd. I've never really asked them that question, or I've never heard it from their mouths. I also thought I had heard Nick Boynton say he heard it was in.
Oh, okay. I think I seen a video online, but when the ref was going through the net, well, the way he had his ass, he was on the right post, so right where it went in. And he was standing there and he's pulling up the net and everything. And his back is to that. And he's pulling up. I'm like, puck's right there. Puck's right there. Like you could see it.
Yeah. So like Kaner must have saw it go right into the net, right?
He must have shot that through a hole that was like large enough for the puck.
It must have been just right. Perfect.
Like, I would love to ask him, like, did you mean to shoot that there? Or were you just trying to put it on net?
I think he was just putting it on net. Like you're just putting it at that type of pace and play. Like I would assume you're just throwing it on net because that is a hard angle for the goalies. Like Crosby 3 months prior to that, he scored the same goal against Ryan Miller, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like that off shot where they're going in that reverse V, and there's like some room. If you throw it hard and low enough, at times you can beat a guy 5-hole,
Yeah.
especially if they're unprepared to put their paddle down.
Mhm.
So, and Kaner goes shelf from there as well, right? So maybe Leighton's thinking he could go shelf or whatever, but Kaner's probably just thinking get it on net and cause a shitstorm.
Mhm.
That's kind of, that'd be my guess,
Mhm.
and just playing with them forever, right?
And on the other freaking like side of that too, it wouldn't shock me if he did mean to shoot that there though with Kaner.
No,
Like,
no.
he's
Looking
so
at the
fucking
play,
good.
yeah, he's the most clutch player of all time.
Yeah, he's
There's
nuts.
no one I've ever seen more clutch in clutch situations. And I mean, every time we went to overtime in 5 playoff runs, I was with the Hawks, he was always the guy who assisted the goal, set up the goal, scored the goal, was the third assist on the goal. It was just wild. He got so much better as the game got tighter.
Yeah, he's a special player, man. He's fucking, and to do it for a smaller guy too is like the shit he does for a smaller guy is insane.
If he was playing today's game at his youth, it would be he'd have 150. He'd have 150 points.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Just because you got to think he was getting, between 60 and 80 points a game during one of the hardest generations to score of all time, right? That kind of between 2010 to 2016 or 2008-9 to 2016, right? You'd only have 100 to 200 point scores maybe a year, if that. Most guys, you'd only have one guy get point a game per team.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, him at 2-3 years ago, he had 120 points. Like if you would have turned him loose in today's game where there's less slashing, no hitting to the head, a lot of things. I mean, you could add another 15 to 20% points to his totals.
Oh yeah, he'd dominate. I noticed too, you played in Toronto. Everybody talks about the media in Toronto. Is the media just fucking nuts in Toronto? Or because I think when you were there, the captain was Phaneuf, right? He was the captain. Yeah. So did he kind of try to take that away from you guys and kind of put all the media with him so that way kind of take everything off the rest of the team? Because I know the Toronto media is tough.
Yeah, Toronto media is tough. I remember at the start of the year, there was Phaneuf, myself, maybe Mike Komisarek. They kind of put the main question. They talked to us. They're like, you guys will be like 4 of the main guys talking to the media. Mm-hmm. So I remember I talked to the media quite often. Kessel didn't really like to, even though he was the most enjoyable one for everyone to listen to speak. It is a different, it was tough in the sense that I went from Chicago, which the media was just as crazy. Like we would have 30, 40 cameras and reporters in the room every day for 2 years. Right. So when I got to Toronto, it was similar, even practices, especially the last 2 years in Chicago prior to going to Toronto, it was nuts. Mm-hmm. It was more of a fishbowl in Toronto in the sense that, everything was about the Leafs, and also we weren't that good. So it was a lot more negative media. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't very good at the start too. My first 10 games, I was very, I was maybe had 1 assist in my first 10 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. I wasn't very good. And, everyone's talking like they got Doug Gilmour, but they got Doug Glatt. I was kind of that joke. So it was a tough transition. But again, like we won the Stanley Cup the year before. I had 2 hernias, like I had 2 sports hernias that I ended up getting done at the end of that year with Philly. So I played in Toronto with that, and I didn't train the whole summer. Like I was basically just resting because I had all these bad injuries from winning the Stanley Cup. Yeah. I put my skates on 2 days before camp. Like literally, I usually have I have my hockey school that runs the first week of August. I only went on my skates to teach the kids that week, and showed up in Toronto end of August and put my stuff on. Right. So it wasn't like I was prepared to play either. Mm-hmm. It was just trying to get healthy again to make sure I could get through another NHL season. So that's why for me, overall, looking at my total experience, I felt bad that I had good stats there. I thought really well once I got in shape and got into the swing. Mm-hmm. But overall, like they'll get on you, and it's hard because it's not Florida, like if you're not scoring 4 or 5 games in Florida, the questions don't come. But if you're not scoring 4 or 5 games and you're expected to in Toronto, it becomes relentless, right? And it can play on your psyche if you're not built for that.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Philadelphia there. You played with Chris Pronger.
Yeah.
He's a mean son of a bitch when he played hockey. And I know Like I've heard him on, I don't know if he was on Chicklets or Missing Curfew or something. I was listening on, I think I've heard you on both of those too. But he
Yeah.
was just saying the respect thing. Like he was the guy that would like rookies would eat last and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Kris? Yeah, was
Yeah.
big on that.
Yeah, I wasn't a rookie when I was with Philly, but that's definitely something I would be certain that he would want to instill in the team. Now, I know things have changed. I'm still a believer in the sense of, let the vets get off the bus first, let the vets eat, just get their food first. Just show a little bit of respect for the guys that have come before you and that are trying to help you out. I don't think there's anything bad about that. I know there's a lot of people that think there's an issue with that or you're demeaning someone. Man, I mean, we picked up pucks, me and Kaner would pick up pucks together after every skate, right?
Mhm.
We would stay out late, we'd work on skills, and we'd also have to pick up pucks together. Like Patrick Kane picked up pucks. Patrick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if
I
he
don't think
can, anybody can.
that's what I mean. And I don't think it's like, I'm totally fine with Pronger saying that because I think it should be something. I think you should want to accept a rookie and make them feel at home and make them feel comfortable. Maybe at some instances back in the day, it wasn't quite like that, but I also think there should be a level of respect from them coming to you.
Well, yeah. Well, not to mention vets too, right? Like you guys have been on the grind in the freaking league and stuff. Yeah, they should show a little. I would be like, speak when you're spoken to. Like if that's me in there, I'd be like, when someone talks to me, I'll talk to them.
Yeah,
Other than that, I'm not bugging anybody.
Yeah,
Like
there was guys like that too, like some vets, they operated like that. So I mean, when I was a rookie, like I never stood up until I was told to stand up. You never ate till you're told to eat, which I was fine. Most vets were always great though, and some operated a little more, stringent with, hey, are you standing up too early or too late? That's just how it was. But yeah, the best thing you can do as a rookie, and if my kids ever played, junior or in the pros, I'd say, hey, just make sure you respect the veterans. They've come before you, they've put in the time and work, and it'll make your life easier, I think, for them to help you. And again, it's there's no hazing anymore. There's none of that bullshit, right? Which there shouldn't be. But as for just a veteran, if you come in and you see a young guy picking up pucks and you see a young guy letting you eat first, even at junior, you're probably like, wow, this kid kind of, he's respecting.
Yeah.
He knows. And again, you don't have to be a dick about it or anything like that. But I would definitely have, I would instill that in my own children personally.
Yeah, it's not a bad little trait to have. What I noticed too with you, it was nuts, was you went from Chicago, Toronto, Philly, Florida, and then you went back to Chicago and then you win another cup in Chicago. So
Yeah.
did you guys kind of know going into that year that, did you like look around the room, be like, hey, like this could be something special here?
Yeah. So the year before, again, that was that year I was coming off hip and knee surgery. I got traded back to Chicago and I was not very good for the Hawks, but we ended up losing to LA in game 7, double overtime, and LA ended up winning the cup.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost in Chicago off that fluky goal. And again, like I always thought, like if I was 5% better, 10% better, maybe I could have made a difference, right? And so that summer I went to work and did a lot. And we also, we were missing a centerman, I thought, kind of at the third line. And that's when we brought in Vermette. But at the start of that year, we were firing on all cylinders. We were a really good team. At Christmas time, I broke my hand and I was out for 2.5 months. But we brought in Vermette a little bit around then. He solidified the third line. Teravainen was kind of coming up as a young guy. He was doing really well in the minors. And then he started to solidify himself during the playoffs. So we had pieces fall into place at the right time, and guys score again. There's a lot of guys who scored big goals or set up big plays throughout that series, but it was a strong team top to bottom, but it was carried by Duncan. Like that was Duncan Keith's playoffs. He played 30 minutes a night. He played, top line against top lines. He scored big goals. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone dominate at that level over 2 months like Duncan had. You talk about Kane and Taze as well, but I'm more so talking from a defensive standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Now, of all the spots you played, all the cities you played, everything, where was your favorite?
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah,
Chicago. Yeah, I thought it'd be like Florida because you're golfing, everything.
No.
Like you.
No,
But
Florida was good. I love Florida. There's that 2000 from 2008 to 2010 was just it was incredible years. You know, some of my best friends, we were together in the minors together in 2000, you know, that 2006-7 season in Virginia. We played in Rockford together. You know, we fought together. We were in line brawls together. We were in, you know, you're just, you know, you're like brothers that were coming up, and then you win Stanley Cups. And we came to Chicago, there was no fans in the stands, you
I
know,
it was nuts.
there was like literally no one at a game. I'd go to a bar, I'd pull out my NHL card and they'd tell me to get to the back of the line, you know, and then a year later, we're selling out the stands in 2008-9. You walk up to a bar, you don't even have to pull out your NHL card and they'll kick someone out of a seat just to make sure you can sit down at it. You know, it was just like within 1 year, how hockey went from nothing to everything is wild. And we would go to practice. I don't think people quite comprehend how big the team was in the Chicago area. Like people don't quite get it. We used to practice at this place in Bensonville in Chicago, and it was like an hour drive from downtown. There would be 4,000 or 5,000 people there.
That's
waiting
crazy.
for us at practice. Like we couldn't get to our cars. We used to have to hire security to walk us to our cars, especially on weekends, right? Like we would have 2,000 people watching practice, 3,000 people. And this is just like a, you know, at this Bensonville. And then we couldn't even get to our cars. And, you know, everywhere we went, it was crazy. It was wild. And so to like have hockey that you didn't think was nothing to kind of be hockey, you know, to be what it was during those years, there's a nostalgic feeling. And there's also a feeling that I see young players coming from Chicago area now that probably started playing hockey because 2008, 9, 10, you know, those teams happened, and then that made them want to play hockey. And now you see all these great young hockey players coming from Chicago, whether they're drafted to the NHL like Turcotte and all these guys, and the Hawks were their favorite team during those era, right? So that's where you're starting to see the grassroots movement of that age group come through as the young players now all born and raised in Chicago. So it's a special place, it's a special time, and those teams to me are the best. You know, it was a great time.
That would be nuts, just practicing in front of like 3,000 people. Like, what is going on here?
It was where the Steel used to play, Chicago Steel. So it would
okay.
be, you know, it was like a little bit of a smaller bowl arena.
Yeah.
It would hold me again, maybe 1,500 to 2,000, but again, not everyone could get inside. They'd all be waiting outside for us just to walk to our cars, to see us walking to our cars. I don't think, you know, I try to explain to like friends today, you know, friends that weren't around, or, you know, parents on my hockey team were talking about what Chicago was like. I'm like, people don't quite get how big the Hawks were in, you know, in those years.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. So you were in the league for a long time, obviously. Which city had the best nightlife?
Oh, Las Vegas has the best. Yeah. Chicago's got great nightlife too. Like I love Chicago. LA, everyone always talks. I don't like LA.
I was just gonna say everybody says LA.
No, LA's okay, but like everything closes at 1 o'clock, and I'm not a massive fan of LA. You know, Chicago has unbelievable nightlife, the food, just the atmosphere. Toronto's got good nightlife. Montreal, Miami. There's a lot of places that have really good, but to me, there's nothing better than Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. And the funniest part too is like never been to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas. I've never went to Chicago either. I'm like, man, like I gotta go to these fucking cities just because like I just hear that hockey. Well, now like look at fucking Vegas now, the Golden Knights. Like that city is hockey crazy right now.
Yeah, they're crazy, and I hope they make the playoffs.
I know. It's crazy what's going on there right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. They got all those shows, and I've always been a big, like I've always loved shows, like DJ shows, and so they got some of the best shows on earth there. They're awesome.
Oh yeah. What's the best chirp you've ever heard playing in the NHL?
Well, so my kid has I mean, there's been a ton. My kid has a Sidney Crosby jersey, and I was playing with Carolina at the time, and I remember, so I told my kid, I'm like, you know, Crosby, you know, he made fun of your daddy, right? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I was playing against Crosby, and I was playing for Carolina, and I remember I was kind of shadowing him one game. We're line matched against them, and he goes, hey, Versteeg, I remember when you used to be good. What happened? You know? So I was like, so now my son wears his jersey around because he loves Sid. It's pretty funny how things work out.
Just tell him, fuck you, Sid.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
what else could you say to him? Like, the
Yeah,
guy's one of the best players in the world. Like, what do you
yeah,
just like, you want to go or something? Like, I don't
yeah.
know what else to do here.
I remember I looked around on the bench and everyone's looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I used to be good.
That's fuck. Yeah, that's the thing though. When he says something to you, it's like, fuck, like you can't really, it's
Yeah.
Crosby, like it's like, fuck you. It's all I
Well,
would.
I think around maybe the year before, I remember chirping him. I think he said something. I said something. I was like, you might be way better than me and way richer, but I still have more Stanley Cups. And I think within 2 years, he shut that up. So
You're like, damn it.
yeah, that's what I had on him. Now I don't.
Oh, he's so fucking good, man.
Yeah, he's
Couple things I wanted to ask you. Now we're kind of out of the NHL stuff, but well, what did you think about the Keith Yandel situation?
it's complete horseshit.
I was like, who's coaching that team? Mike fucking
Yeah.
Babcock? Like, what's going on here?
I understand you call young guys up at the end of the season, you give them shots, you give them chances, but they're a horrible team. Like the Flyers are a horrible team. They're not in the playoffs. For Mike Yeo to do that is like there's got to be maybe the decision's not solely on him. It could be Fletcher as well. So I think it'd be a co-issue. But for them to do that is bullshit. Like complete bullshit. No,
No,
it's actually it's a dirtbag move, to be honest.
Because now I think Babcock did. I think he did it on 2 occasions. He did one with Modano, yeah, when he was with the Wings, and he still finished his career with 1,499 games.
Yep.
It's like, motherfucker. And then the other
again, like they don't remove themselves. Like Mike, I don't know if he ever played. Did he play a long time or something?
I'm not even sure.
I have to go see. Maybe he did. But if Mike Yeo looks back in the mirror and sees himself as a player, and again, there's a business side to hockey.
Yeah, of course.
If the Philadelphia Flyers are in the playoffs or in the hunt, I totally get it. Sit Yandel down. If he's not performing, you sit him down.
Absolutely.
It's not a, it shouldn't be handed to him. But right now they're not in the playoffs and they're a horrible team. So for them to do that to him is a dirtbag move, right? And that's, again, I don't think it's just Yeo. I think it's Fletcher too. But I completely disagree with what they've done.
I agree.
Yeah.
And yeah,
again, it's not a charity. Playing in the NHL is not a charity. There is that, and it's part of the game. But there's also, put yourself in the situation, if you were a player and you had this streak on the line and and the team's not winning and it's crap, right? Why can't I play the last little bit? Or why can't I keep this going? Because most likely next year, Yandel won't be in the lineup because he may not be good enough to play consistently anymore. Maybe he is more of a bit of a spot treatment player. But yeah, I think it's bad.
I think that they should have at least let him hit 1,000 in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guy fucking played every game for 13 years. And then you fucking scratch him. Like I just, when I heard about, like, I was like, no, because like I've been following him. I got his fucking photo up there, a signed photo of him when he was with the Rangers. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. I can't believe he did that to him. Completely gutless move from this end. Anyways, I was just fucking couldn't believe it. I was in awe.
Yeah.
But fuck, brutal.
No, it's again, I understand it if they're in a playoff race or things.
Yeah, completely.
And they want to put young guys in the lineup. Okay, we'll sit down someone else. Why can't someone else sit down?
Yeah. Or like, couldn't they do the freaking Kessel thing there with them? Like Phil, when he was in, I think Detroit, he played a shift and then was gone because I think he went for the birth of his kid. But he was there and he played one shift and he was gone. Like, couldn't they do something like that with him? Even like let him keep the fucking streak?
No, there's obviously something more to it. Like Mike Yeo or Fletcher have an issue with Yandel, right? There's an obviously, because you don't just do that to a player.
And he handled it like a fucking pro too. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but I just mean like when he was with the like media and stuff like that, he handled it like a pro, I thought. But I was just like, still, it was just gutless move. One of the other things I wanted to ask you too is what's life like after hockey?
Yeah, it's a lot different now. I'm in a whole different mindset. It's not as scheduled, which you miss as a hockey player. I think you miss just being around the guys. We have, I do have a company now, Klevr, which is we got a lot of ex-athletes in it. Actually, Patrick Kane, we just brought on for some sales and help in that aspect of the company. But so you have the camaraderie as the team, which has been great, but it is definitely a different world, and it's a new world. Yeah. A lot new. A lot new.
Yeah, because you're like married now, kids. You're also coaching your kids and stuff like that too now, right?
Yeah, so I coach the kids. I coach both their age groups. We have spring teams. We have a winter development program. I have Klevr. It's a sporting app, especially for the youth market. We basically streamline the entire process for a youth coach to take a clip, edit a clip, meaning teach it and share it. What used to take an hour now takes seconds to do. So that's something that we've been and we're actually in a fundraising round at the moment, trying to, make the company bigger and get out to more people. So that's currently what we're doing. So it's a whole new world. You're learning about how to grow a business, how to make it better, how to give the customers what they want. In hockey, it's more so just, here's the time you need to be here, show up and be ready to play. So it's just a different mindset and a different challenge for me. I think I'm excited about the challenge to see if this is something that can, rock the foundation of the sporting tech world. And I think we can do it. But then again, I do love coaching as well. So maybe somewhere down the line, I get back into the game more on a pro level or junior level, whether it's coaching or management.
That'd be cool. Yeah, and we'll obviously try to push as much there for you as we can too for your brand. So we'll try to push that as much for you too as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Last thing I'm going to ask you, this year hockey, who's going to win the cup? Who's going to take it?
I think Colorado.
I said that too.
I picked the last 2 years. I had Tampa. I think it's going to be Colorado Boston final. That's my pick for the finals. Boston's playing well. I think they're a little better than Florida when they're fully going. I don't know what Ekblad's going to do. Tampa Bay's been through the ringer. They can always just win it just because they're so special and talented. And I think they did a really good job solidifying their third line. I just have a feeling about Boston. One last run with Bergeron and all those guys, see if they can do it. And Colorado wins in the final.
Do you think the Leafs go out of the first round?
Depends who they play.
I was saying that too. I was saying because Rob's a big Leafs guy. I'm like, Rob, you guys are fucking in one here, man. Like, because I think it was as of a couple weeks ago. I'm like, if the season ends now, you're either getting Carolina, Florida, or Tampa.
Yeah.
I was like, good luck.
I think they match up well against Florida especially without an Ekblad, just their speed. Tampa, I'm not certain how they match up against Tampa. I don't think particularly well overall. And then who's the other one? Carolina?
Yep.
Yeah, again, I think Carolina, they're the two harder matchups. I think if you're Toronto, you want Florida first round.
Oh yeah. Hey, are you in Ontario now?
Yeah, so I have a place. I'm in Brooklyn, Ontario, just outside of Whitby.
Oh, okay. So you're like a couple hours away from me.
Yeah.
Are you ever in like Windsor area or anything at all?
We may be for hockey here soon with the kids.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if you ever come down like for just whatever, I was gonna say bring your clubs with you.
Yeah, I heard there's some good courses down there.
Well, we'll hit some.
Yeah, well, you let me know.
We'll crush beers on the course, and I'm a horrible golfer, but I'm good at drinking beer, so we can do that.
That seems like most of the guys I play with.
But all right, man. I just want to say thank you so much, man. I know you're a busy guy. Good luck with everything, man, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and tell your partner in crime that it's tough without him today, and I'm happy he wasn't here. I felt like it was a better interview without him.
I love it. Thank you, Kris.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. And there he was, folks. Kris Versteeg. Wish I would have had Rob for that one, but Rob was sick and kind of out of it. And that was the only time Kris could do it. So we had to get him.
I took a nap at like 10 o'clock and slept till like, what did you do it at 12? I slept till 12:30 and I'm like, hey, I'll jump on. Like, I'm still fucking half asleep. I thought it was at 12:30. I'm like, I'm coming down. You're like, oh, we're halfway through it. I'm like, oh, okay, fuck it. Whatever. And then I started thinking about all the questions I had for him. Like, fuck, what a beauty.
I,
What a
I
beauty.
I could probably get him on again at some point. He's
That would
pretty
be
cool, dude.
awesome because I'd love to talk to him because like he played for the Leafs and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There was a lot of people that didn't like him because I don't know if he was on his decline then, but like he still went on to play some amazing hockey with
Yeah.
the other teams that he went to, but they treated him like shit in Toronto.
Mhm.
And I thought it was awesome that they picked him up. But you know, like if you're not a fan favorite, you're in so much trouble there.
Mhm.
So much trouble.
Oh,
You
I
touch the
know.
puck, they're booing you in your own fucking arena.
I know. Me and him had a you guys obviously just heard, but we talked about the media in Toronto,
Yeah.
like how bad it is there. So, but yeah, so thank you to Kris, absolute beauty. Sid the Kid. Speaking of Sid the Kid, 1,400 points now for the kid.
Oh, wait. Remember, I wanted to talk to you about did he talk about the puck between his legs and all that shit?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so could you imagine when Robbie Shrimp was doing that shit and he was just getting ridiculed for it, you know, like it and when you're trying something different and it's working, like he was doing the Michigan before those kids were even fucking born that were doing the Michigan.
Know.
You know what I mean? And then when you talk, you know, like, and it had to put a sour taste in Shrimp's mouth just due to the fact that he was doing something like 20 years
ago
before his time, before all the shit is now, oh my God, it's so amazing that they're doing this. But there was guys that were able to do this way back when.
Mhm.
And then Versteeg, he did the same thing. And who was his coach? Coach Quinn?
Yeah, no, it was Quenville.
Yeah. So Quenville
me,
says, Versteeg, you fucker, like get the fuck off the ice. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and did it during the game. And then like you guys have all heard the story, like, but I heard him on Chicklets. And he is like next practice, you know, Buff and Taves are going through their legs and everybody's laughing about it. Quinn doesn't, or
Coach Q.
Coach Q doesn't say shit about it, right?
Yeah.
Because these are the all-stars and Versteeg's a fucking scrub. Meanwhile, he's a fucking amazing hockey player.
My favorite story that he told was when he was on the ice with the Wit dog. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was on the ice with Wit in Florida. And there's like 60 fucking things on the ice, pucks, and he just started flicking the pucks into the stand.
Oh, when they made a bag skate?
Yeah. But that was a good one. These guys obviously heard it, but yeah, it was fucking great. That was my favorite one that he told me. So
that's awesome. Because he's flipping them all over the glass.
Yeah, he says he's like, I do a flip 50 or 60. Fucking
I love
it. So yeah, so back to Sid. Couple notes here on the Pens. First one, Sid, obviously 1,400 points. Think about how much more you would have if you didn't have to miss a year and a half of hockey because of conkies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'd be what, 1,600 points right now, probably.
And you know what, too? If he wouldn't have been such a baby when he was coming up, you know, he would be the most loved hockey player ever to play the game. But he bitched and moaned, and he even said it. He's like, I wish I wouldn't have done that in my early years.
Yeah, snapping the head back and stuff.
Yeah, all of it. Whining to the refs, doing all that shit, you know, like him and Ovechkin came in, what, the same year? Or 1 year apart?
I think 1 year apart.
Okay, so 1 year apart. And it's always been that rival, right? So you take Crosby, his year and a half out of that scenario. I think they both have right around 1,400 points each.
Yeah.
I think they're almost identical in points.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But Crosby would have way more assists where Ovi would score more goals.
I think he'd have at least 100 more points, if not more, than Ovechkin right now, if he didn't have to take that year and a half off from the headshots.
Well, the one at the Winter Classic there costed him a year.
Yeah, that was from what's his name from the Capitals.
Yeah,
he ended up being.
And it was just a freak thing.
Yeah, it was. It was not intentional. I didn't see it as intentional.
It just rattled them the wrong way. That was all.
It happens all the time. Guys run into their own guys. You know, they run into each other. Yeah, I don't know.
On that.
Yeah.
Speaking of of the Pens, like I was saying there, Malkin got 4 games.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, he cross-checked, is it Borshevsky or something or whatever, but something like that from Nashville, I want to say. Cross-check right in the fucking chops, man.
Right in
Just
the mouth.
leaking all over the place. Got a mouth
Right in the back of his molars.
Like, yeah,
Like
just
his
my
mouth opened
God.
up so wide. Like unbelievable. He came back
Yeah.
and finished the game. But you deserved 4 games.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, oh, what about Matthews? Matthews only got 2 for it. Not even comparable.
The thing when you hit somebody here to hitting them here.
Yeah.
In the face and actually causing injury.
He cross-checked him in the neck. He got his 2 games and deservedly so. But Malkin, he knocked the last 4 teeth out of that poor fucker's mouth.
I know. Yeah. He doesn't have very many in the first place.
They call him sugar tooth.
Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing is Malkin will give if they end up matching up again at some point, Malkin will give that guy the chance to fight him. Like he's
gonna fight him.
Oh yeah, he's that type of guy.
It's gonna happen.
Who did he cheap shot before he hit somebody? It was McDonough or somebody, I want to say. I forget who it was, but it was someone. But they fought right off the draw. He said in the media, "I will give him the chance." He said,
he's not a pussy. He'll go answer the bell.
No,
he knows he did something wrong.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He fucking snapped, got the wires crossed, and that's what happened.
So look for that. That will happen at some point, I'm assuming. Shitty news for the LA Kings. Lost Drew Doughty. Season-ending wrist surgery.
So yeah, that really sucks that his wrists are fucked because that's your bread and butter, right? Like, you know, it's just like your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got ankles, you ain't got wrists, you ain't playing hockey.
That's a big time player too to be losing.
Absolutely, especially coming into the playoffs, and they're a pretty good wagon right now.
And for him being in his late 30s, he still plays like he's younger. Like,
was there something that happened? Do you know? Like,
I don't know. I was gonna ask you that,
or just wear and tear.
I think it might just be wear and tear because I didn't see anything like in like highlights or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because normally they would have something up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to look into that. Last thing, Chucky's Hattie there in Calgary. That kid's fucking good too, man.
He's a beauty.
And also Johnny Hockey reaches 1,000 points in a single season for the first time in his career too. So 2 good notes out of Calgary though. They are rolling right now. That's going into the playoffs. Absolutely rolling. To me, they could be one of the teams that come out of the West here.
Right.
Could be one of them, man. We'll see what happens, man. What do you think on the Flames?
I think the Flames are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Whoever they're going to run into and through the whole playoffs, they're going to be tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're not doing the fucking if the playoffs started right now. We'll wait until the matchups are actually set, and then we'll kind of break down all the series when it comes down to that time. So that's still probably a couple weeks away, obviously.
Right.
Which then will lead us to our last segment of every show, like we always do, our Beaut of the Week. Rob, who do you got for your Beaut of the Week? I'll let you go first.
Well, I need to give a shout out to the U under-12 Sun County Panthers winning the championship.
Sweet.
Great job, guys. It was awesome to see, awesome to hear. It was all over Facebook. And I also want to give another shout out to the Ravens under 12 winning their OMHA championship.
Actually, I think I've seen both of those too online, team photos.
Yeah, that's the South Point Essex Ravens.
Sweet.
Like combined, and good for all you guys. Like congratulations on that.
It's nice to see
but
the teams.
Yeah, my Beaut of the Week is Mr. Kevin Hamlin.
Yeah.
Getting Coach of the Year. Good for you, buddy. Like congratulations on all your success there with the Windsor Lancers. Mm-hmm. So proud to had you on our show. And sky's the limit for you, buddy.
Oh yeah. I could see him going way higher than, like, I understand he loves it there and he's great for the U, but I could see him getting offers elsewhere too.
Bro, he's got it made.
Yeah. But
it's a matter if you want to pick up your family and move, right?
Yeah.
Right now, he's living in Windsor and fucking coaching the Windsor Lancers.
I know.
Like,
I'm
dude,
killing it
like,
too.
remember looking at his office when we interviewed him?
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. So congrats to him, Kevin. But my beauty of the week is going to be Sidney Crosby, 1,400 points. Can't go wrong with Sid the Kid. As much as I hate him, I still love watching him play. So
Yeah.
I'm going Sid the Kid. Before we wrap up the show here, as you guys know, beauty of the week is always the end of the show, but we just want to give a big good luck to the Essex 73s too. So good luck, boys. We'll be watching. I'm sure Rob will be there, but we'll be watching. So I just want to give those guys a little bit of extra good luck. So
Yeah, I'll be there, guys. Just come buy me a beer. All good.
Rob will be up in the corner near the bar if you're in
you'll
the
find
Essex
me.
Arena.
You'll see me.
So until next week, Aunt Rob signing off. We're out of here. See you.
Peace.